was convinced that something bad would happen today because this week has just been a bit of a mess. And I think all day long I was just wary of, is that going to be the thing? Is this going to happen? Is that going to go wrong? I bet this doesn't work. And got through the day, things were going all right. It was touch and go for a moment. I went out to get petrol earlier on and I finished filling up the pump, sorry. Wasn't filling the pump up, filling up my car, and I walked from my car to the shop. There was a car parked behind me. Somebody just starts reversing into me. Like me, not the car, me physically. It stopped just in time. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to get run over today. That would have been a really hard vlog to do from like underneath the car or in hospital or whatever. But I survived this. I don't know what she was doing. She just decided to change the pump she was going to, even though they're all empty. There was no logic. It was all fine anyway. Got home, nothing's gone wrong. Touch wood, today seems okay. It was interesting hearing everybody's stories about similar things that happened with their phones and lots of people's thoughts and everything. But something really funny happened because I didn't really plan to do this, but as I was tweeting and putting out, when I record my videos, I put them out on YouTube, and then I tweet that it's out with a picture of the video showing the title, and I either just put the title in the tweet or I write something if it makes sense to do so. And this time, because the video was called £200 phone bill, the tweet said £200 phone bill, and I changed it to £200 at EE phone bill. Just, I don't know, I had no intention to do this before the moment I did it. And obviously then the video's out in the world and everyone's watching it and commenting and so forth. And I got a message this morning just like, hi Richard, how you doing? You know, we've seen your tweet. I understand you've got an issue. Can we DM you? And I'm like, yeah, go on then. So they DM'd me and they were like, you know, what's the situation? Tell us the story. And I explained to them what happened, but I was very just matter of fact about it. I said, look, you know, my daughter's in a iMessage group. She's accidentally somehow got the same person in there twice on their number and their email address. Wasn't intentional, wasn't what she wanted to do. And your pricing has decided that because there's an email address in there, that's a text to email, they cost 50p, and it's got to be 50p per person per message, and it's cost us £4 a message for this 8-person or 7-person group, and it's just very expensive and I can't afford it. It's outrageous. I said, you have offered half of it back, which is fine, but you know, which is kind, sorry, but it's not enough because it's a lot of money. There was no intention there, and I kind of left it at that. And they said, oh, we'll call you back later today. They called me about 5:30 just as I was picking the kids up from nursery, and I was like, damn it, I look like the worst dad ever picking up a phone call. But if I don't pick up the phone call, they're not going to ring back. So I picked it up as I was walking out the door, kind of thing. I kind of explained it to Emily, even though she didn't need me to, just in the hope the woman would hear me, justifying why I was answering my phone in there. No phone zone, there's all these signs up, because I don't want parents coming in just ignoring their kids or whatever, which makes sense, but this was one I didn't want to miss. And I'm glad I didn't miss it, because I explained to the woman the situation again. She kind of reiterated her understanding. She told me there was nothing she could do, and then said, except I can elevate it to the executive team and they can review the case and decide what they want to do. I was like, yeah, do it. Thinking she'll put me on hold and then she'll probably just come back and offer me a little bit more or something. I was on hold for like 20 minutes. The drive home, when she come back, she's like, oh, are you driving? And I said, well, I did tell you I was stopping at nursery when you rang me. And she was like, can you still talk? And we're like, yeah, fine. So she's chatting away. And she was like, yeah, they didn't really take the call in the end. The executive team just kind of looked at it. And I'm thinking she's just going to say they're not interested. And she said, they just looked at it and just said, yep, refund him. And she said, they never do that. And she's like, and I don't know whether this was a spiel, but she was like, I've never seen them do that. They never do that for me normally. She said, they just looked at it and went, yep, obviously didn't want to do that. There was no intention there, you know, give him his money back. So I was just like, really? And she was like, yeah, how's your daughter? And I said, well, she's had a stressful evening. She was very stressed. I know I said that before, but Emily was absolutely cut up about it. And I said to her, I wasn't angry at her at all. I was just shocked that it had happened. But I said, yeah, she's very stressed last night, but she's okay today. She said, we'll give her a hug, tell her it's okay. You're all locked down now, it won't happen again. The money will be in your account within sort of 4 to 5 days. So I was just like, yes. Came home, told Claire, she's obviously very happy with that. But this whole thing has made me think, I don't have much luck with phones normally. This has worked out nicely, and often my stories do, and I've got some stories I hope you find entertaining. But I'm very relieved that this one's sorted out, and I think it's all because I happened to tag them in this, and they've seen, oh, he's talking about it on the internet. Uh-oh, people are going to see this. So, in fairness to them, they've done a very good job. I didn't mean to scratch like I was being suspicious there. I just had an itchy neck. So yeah, good on them, and I'll put a tweet out after the vlog just to say thank you to them publicly, because I feel like I should really. But yeah, when I was younger, I mentioned before I had what sounds like a dream job, but it was soul destroying at the time. And I kind of laugh at the fact that I didn't know how lucky I was until I got a lot older and had a lot more responsibility. But I mentioned this before, I had a job when I was 18. My dad told me I couldn't find a job where I sat around doing nothing all day. Proved him wrong by getting a job where I sat around doing nothing all day. I don't think they were necessarily paying me to sit around and do nothing. It was more of a keep an eye on this big building. They gave me a flat, they gave me a phone, they gave me, responsibilities of looking after it, but generally that just meant going up and down the floors a couple of times a day, checking there was nothing wrong, fixing it if there was, cleaning it if there was, whatever. It was literally just, I think in America you kind of call it the super, and it's just a bit like that. I just lived on the block, but I got these perks. And one of the perks, as I mentioned, was a mobile phone in like 2003, I think it was, which was what, the 3330 era. I think I got a brand new 3330. Was very chuffed with it. It's better than my personal phone. It had a stupidly high amount of texts available on it for its time, but not that many. And I worked there for 18 months, and the first month I got given my phone. I had lots of friends who had phones. So they'd all have their phones, and they might have like 100 texts or whatever it is, or they might have whatever the amount of texts they have. So they'd all text me their X amount of texts a day, but I'd text them relentlessly, like, so if, oh, you've run out of text, I'll talk to this person. And I kind of had a routine of, all right, so-and-so's just finished uni, let's text for a bit. So-and-so's just finished work, let's text for a bit. I'll chat to that girl at this time, that person at that time, and I'd be flirting with people that I, liked or whatever. And it was just like, I'd be just exchanging numbers with people and chatting with them, and it became like one of my go-to communication methods, like much earlier than, like today it seems normal, but then it wasn't. And then at the end, like maybe, it must have been midway through my second month, I came in and they were just talking, and they had like everyone's bills and they're handing them out, and I'm kind of going, oh, phone bills, like, and they're like, yeah, any out of contract kind of stuff gets charged to you. You just have to, cover it. So a couple of people had these like sheets of paper that just said they'd sent a few calls and messages and so forth out of contract. And I got handed mine, and it was like this thick. Like, I kid you not, I'm not exaggerating even slightly. It was a doorstop. It was like a Yellow Pages, a small Yellow Pages. And I just looked at them a bit like, I thought it was like unlimited text or whatever. And they were like, no, it's capped at like, I want to say it must have been like 500 texts, which for all of them who were like 50-plus-year-old men, it was fine. For me, an 18-year-old boy, it was not fine. I'd sent thousands of texts in that month, and the bill was over £600 worth of just texting at like 10p a text. So you can do the math. So I don't even off the top of my head. That should. Do you know what? I'm tired. I want to say the 6,000, but it doesn't seem right. It can't be right. There must have been some calls in there. I definitely did have a routine of people would ring me, I'd ring them, we'd have a chat, but it was mainly texting. But it was 600 and something pound. And I said to them, I don't have that. They were like, well, you can't got to pay your bill. So we agreed that I would pay it in instalments of 300 a month for 2 months. I said to them, why don't we just have contracts with unlimited text on? Because it was like a new thing. It was like £30 a month and it was job done. I was like, I'd even happily pay that. And they said, we don't know. So they went and asked, and we all got given that contract from them. I never got another bill. I didn't really stop texting, so they could have quite easily given me another bill that next month, but they didn't. It was fine. But they put us on a proper contract that didn't have absurd charges. But I'll never forget that moment of, I've sent how many messages? Because the job was odd. It was like, I didn't really have a proper sleep pattern. I'd probably go to sleep at like 4 a.m, get up at 8, have a wander around the block, check how it was, come back, just doze around on the sofa texting, watching TV, playing games, have a snooze at the afternoon, and then have another look through the block, and then go and have a night out with my mates or whatever. So I was texting 24/7 pretty much, and I was only really sleeping in dribs and drabs. Once I'd left that, I obviously had to get my own phones and everything, and I just bumbled along quite fine. I had I remember getting the little Razor flip phone, whatever other stuff came out in that period. But when I went to university and met Kev from, Leluja, you all know who he is, I had some crummy, I can't even remember what it was. It's probably the last Nokia phone they did, I think, before iPhones destroyed them. And it was like 5200 or something like that, it was called. And it was a piece of junk. And I remember actually that he was getting really annoyed with me because it was just when the internet came out. And my phone didn't have the internet. It had like a very poor version of it that I never used because it was out of contract and it cost a fortune. And I think there was something that he needed me to look up, and I was really dilly-dallying about it and avoiding doing it because I knew it was going to cost me like a fiver, and I was just becoming a student, and he's being really frustrated, like, just look it up on your phone, and I'm like, I can't look it up on my phone, like, it's going to cripple me, and being really awkward about it. And I remember him making this big song and dance about how he'd got the new iPhone 3 at the time, I think it was, and so I say new iPhone, I mean like it was a proper big, it really leveled up at that point, and he was showing off about it, and I had a crummy phone, he was like, nah. And he convinced me to go and get one from the 3 store, which was a mistake. And a lot of this story is going to make the 3 sound awful, and I want to say outright at the front that generally they were all right in the end, and the people involved don't work there anymore. I don't feel like they're, it should besmirch them beyond like 2006, I think it must have been 2005-6. But I went in there and bought a phone at the same time as my friend. We both went and bought phones together because we were in the same social group as Kev, and he'd been ragging us for weeks. Peer pressure ruined us. It sounds awful actually that we just become students and we both got iPhones, but they were on some special offer with 3. It was really affordable. It's the same, it's basically like a fiver more than my other phone had cost, but it was an iPhone and it stopped Kev showing off. So we both went and got one. We got on this deal, and when we got home, mine had a problem with the headphone jack, and our friend had a problem where when you rang her, she just couldn't hear you. You could hear her talking and ranting and getting annoyed with her phone, but she couldn't hear a word you were saying. So I said, I'll complain. I'm an angry man. I'll go in and I'll complain about it. So we both went in, and I was fighting with them, and they were saying, I'm sorry, sir, but we only hold stock here for customers, new customers. If you've got a problem with the phone, you have to take it to the Apple store to be refurbished. And I was like, but you're selling broken phones. My phone's broken, her phone's broken. We bought them on the same day. You can't just tell us that that's a coincidence, that's a bad batch. You're selling broken phones. I argued and argued and argued to the point where they were refusing to help, and I got really, really frustrated with them. So I started telling people who were sat there buying phones that they needed to go and buy phones elsewhere because the phones this shop was selling were broken. They started trying to usher me out of the shop, and I started swearing and ranting at them. And I think in the end, I was outside the door of the shop and I just swore at them, and they said, you are not allowed in this shop anymore. And I was like, I'm not coming back in this shop anymore because you sell broken phones. We got really back and forth. It's a bit childish, but I was very angry because I just signed up for a contract, meant to be a brand new, awesome phone, and the damn thing was broken before I'd even got it out of the box. So obviously the first thing I do is I go home. I remember laying in my bedroom on the bed, just chilling out on my own, and I thought, I'm going to ring 3 and I'm going to give them what for, and I'm going to say I'm not happy. I'm thinking, yeah, I didn't handle myself properly in the shop, got a bit carried away with the anger, they weren't helping, they've got some sort of scam going on and this isn't good. I'm going to ring them up and I'm going to rant about it. So I rang them up, and I was quite honest. I did say to them, look, by the end of this I got pretty sweary, but I shouldn't have had to get pretty sweary. The fact of the matter is, you've sold me a broken phone, you're refusing to acknowledge that that's what you're doing. You were selling broken phones as new phones. You were claiming these refurbished ones, or I don't know whether they were just refurbs or whether they were broken, but they were claiming they were brand new, and they definitely weren't. They were obviously getting cheap stock and flogging it on a bargain, which is why it was probably such an affordable rate. But they weren't being honest on that. So I rang to complain. The bloke's talking to me on the phone, and he was like, so what do you want me to do about this? And I'm like, well, A, I want the phone replaced, and B, I just want an apology because you've made me like a damn fool. You've made me I got so frustrated. I've made a fool of myself, but I feel like an idiot because of the situation. And the bloke kind of paused for a moment, and I thought about how to word this. I want to word it exactly how he said it, but it's a little bit shocking. He goes, do you know what? He goes, you Asians, you always want something for nothing. And I'll say here that he wasn't like he wasn't based in the UK. I'm thinking, if memory serves, it was an Indian call centre. So he goes, you Asians always want something for nothing. And I was just like, excuse me? What? I said, firstly, that is incredibly racist. Like, you can't just say that to customers. Like, you are going to be fired for that. That is shocking. I said, secondly, not that it matters, but I'm a white man in his 20s then, it would have been. Like, what on earth made you say that? And he just started ranting at me, and then he hung up. And I was just like... So I rang back, and I was just like, I don't really know how to explain this, but the man on the phone that I rang just now has just randomly, like, racially attacked me, saying that you Asians always want something for nothing. I said, he's been racist. You can listen to it back. It's odd because I'm not even Asian. Not that matters. I feel weird because I kept saying I'm not even Asian. Like, why were they saying that? Like, like I was just like, it's such an just an outrageously weird thing for him to say. So they investigated it, and straight away they're like, yeah, he does not work here anymore. And they tried to say, like, you know, none of us, we don't endorse that. Our staff can't be like that. Blah blah blah. I'm guessing the guy was just anti-Asian people, you know, call a spade a spade, he was racist. Glad he got sacked, but just mental. So they were like, yeah, you know, we still can't replace the phone. I'm like, what the hell? So they gave me several months free phone time, you know, I got like a discount and all this stuff. And I was like, it doesn't really, it feels weird because it's like, that's not, I feel like that isn't justification. That's not like, there is an apology. I'm not going to push for more. It's just kind of a weird situation now. This has gone mad, and you're trying to just damage limitation as much as you can. So I'm like, fair enough. So I had to go down to Cambridge, to the Apple store, with the phone at a predetermined time. Bless him, Kev drove me and our friend down there because we both had the same problem. He was the only person we knew that drove, so we all went down to Cambridge for the day. We went to the Genius Bar. We were both booked in at, like, let's say 2:15 and 2:20. They literally took the phones, put them in a drawer, got a new one out and handed it to us, and the phone was fine. Absolutely ludicrous. It was like a 45-minute drive. I think we parked, went into the shop, come back out, went home, and the whole ordeal probably took like an hour. Well, it would have taken, 80 minutes plus the 10 minutes we were in there, so an hour and a half. And it was brand new phone, just swapped. And I just thought, I think 3 must have just been running a racket and they just knew Apple would replace them and then repair the broken ones. But B, what a ridiculous ordeal. Yeah, so that is my 2. I hope they've been entertaining. The only other weird one, which I'm sure I have mentioned before about odd times, was I rang a guy and he just started crying and told me that his girlfriend had dumped him, and I just console him, which is very bizarre. I hope I haven't told all of these before. If I have, I'm sorry. Most of you won't have heard them before because my channel's not that popular, but hopefully you found them good. Everything else has gone all right today. I was convinced that since Monday was Oliver's day, Tuesday was my day, yesterday was Emily's day, I was worried that Claire, Ben or Molly would have a thing today. Everyone seems fine. My sister, to be fair, messaged me saying that her plans for the evening have been cancelled because she was going to see Disney on Ice in Sheffield, and Sheffield's apparently underwater at the moment. There's all sorts of problems there, so maybe it's her having a bad day, bless her. But hopefully that'll resolve. Ollie's got his first full day back tomorrow. He's in all day long, so he's doing lunchtime, he's doing the afternoon, he's doing everything. Apparently he was getting really anxious this week about everything. He got a red slip yesterday for something trivial, apparently, but they were just like, it just needs to follow the rules that are there. I think he has been getting them, they've just not made a big deal about it, but it's just exciting. I'm trying to say to him, it's good, it's calm, it's nice that he's going in. I don't want to build it up as exciting, I don't want to build it up as monumental. I just want to say to him, that'll be nice. You get to have a nice chilled out afternoon with all your classmates just learning. That'll be nice. And he's just like, yeah. Oddly or ironically, he's starting to get on really well with the boy that he kept clashing with. He actually got upset today because the boy was asked to sit out and do something else for a bit, and the boy was upset that he wanted to be part of the class, but I think he just needed a bit of time away. And Ollie got upset because he wanted he was like, I like him now, we are friends now, and we are nice to each other now, and I want him to be part of the class like I am. And he just felt really bad that the boy wasn't being part of the class. I said, it's fine, they will bring him back in, it's not permanent, don't worry. But that's reassuring that they're getting on enough that they yeah, that they're looking out for each other, or Ollie's looking out for him, I don't know, vice versa, but it's good. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up there. Thought it's been a good day all round. Touch wood, it stays good. Got to get to midnight yet. I'll let you know if anything changes, obviously, because that's what I do. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you're all well. Let me know how your week's going. Let me know how you're getting on. You know, people have been talking to me in the chat about all sorts of things, and in the comments below. Use it, it's there. Yeah, I just hope you had a good Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.